Hyperlinks subvert hierarchy. Ah, the lost promise of the Clue Train Manifesto. The Clue Train Manifesto came out in the year 2000, I believe. It's now 2011, and I'm sad to say that hierarchy is alive and well in most organizations, with CEO kings and VP lords and manager dukes ruling over minions like me. Frankly, I'm tired of it. So I got to thinking, is it possible that we as a race have a thing for pyramids? So in order to answer this question, which I hope to share with you tonight, I decided to look back at one of those oldest of hierarchies, empire. About around 10,000 BC, our ancestors, free people, hunter-gatherers, chose to trade in their freedom to be ruled by kings and emperors. Why on earth would they do that? Well, I've come up with 5 reasons why this odd thing happened. And these are the 5 things that I believe caused hierarchy to stick. They had no voice. They had no choice. They didn't know better. They didn't know they didn't know. And they couldn't find out what they didn't know. So let's start with the first one. No voice. No voice is basically no democracy. Now, think about it. Would you vote for a pharaoh that chooses to squander the country's resources on building a huge tomb to hold him when he's dead? Of course you wouldn't. But what's the best way to keep democracy away? A really big army and lots of weapons. The second item, the second thing that makes hierarchy stick is what I call no choice. And to keep that, in order for hierarchy to come back, is rights. So as soon as humanity started to question this, as soon as we started to recognize that all men are created equal, we realized, no, the king isn't God, and my life is the same as the king, so maybe I don't really need a king. So this makes no sense. The third thing is what I call they didn't know better. Education. The moment that we started educating our masses, taught them how to read and write, all sorts of revolutions started to happen in our history. This one is the interesting one because education is not enough, but at least it's the key that unlocks. It helps us to ask questions, start to have conversations, and start to realize that maybe this doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to be listening to this guy. The fourth item is they didn't know that they didn't know. Information. What do you get when you have education without information? You get a priest. And the only thing the priest reads is a Bible and goes around telling all the women in the village they have to have as many babies as they can in order to serve God. Well, thankfully, we figured out that that was nonsense. The fifth item is they couldn't find out what they didn't know. Communication. I call this the hierarchy killer. Isn't it interesting how in Egypt they actually shut off the internet? How do you do that? Shut off the internet. Shut off the cell phone service. That didn't do a whole lot of good, did it? Because they realized that when people talk to each other, they have a way to communicate, they can organize themselves, and they can organize revolutions. So, in summary, if you want hierarchy to die, you need democracy, rights, education, information, and communication. So let us come back to my sorry state as a minion in a corporate hierarchy. It's the year 2011. I live in Canada. It's a democracy. I definitely have rights protected by a constitution. I'm educated. I got 2 university degrees, got that covered. More information than I could possibly ever read in my blog reader. And I live in the golden age of communication. Somebody please explain to me why we're still organizing our companies like this. It makes no sense. It never has, it never will. This was invented in 1840. How many other 160-year-old business models do you know of that we still use today? I'd like to know, when are we done with pyramids? My name is Elisabeth Bucci. I'm the Passionate Project Manager, and I'm hoping you will join my revolution. Thank you.